Good morning, YouTube. This is KLM Reports, continuing my project here. Did anybody notice anything strange with dates and times? And I'm just curious if anybody saw what I saw. I find it, I question the timing and the content of her reviews. So I find it really morbidly funny, I guess, would be the words that she would rather ask her friends or her clients to stand up for her and do a review rather than just calling me. See, if she could have just called me, I wouldn't have felt like doing this. So it's funny how things work out, because I've been wanting to do something like this for years, and I guess this is my opportunity to do so. In my opinion, I feel that's very unethical behavior, and I kind of feel bad for her. You know, I feel a little bit sorry for her that that to me is basic psychology, human behavior of being very insecure. So I found that interesting. So moving on, you know, I feel so much better at her expense, really. I'm not sure if anybody else sees it that way. I have quite a few people viewing my videos. I found that interesting. And they're jumping around. They're not watching the whole thing. They're clicking through them. So I've really hit a nerve with somebody. And this is how people act when you hit a nerve. This is my life experience. It's generally something inside them that they are unable to look at, accept, or even hear. I feel like she's marketing herself, and that is something that if you take a business class, that's taught. I've heard that a few times, and this is really ironic. There's a lot of irony in this story. There's two Leannes back in 2014 through 16. I saw a licensed clinical social worker named Leanne, and she kind of took me under her wing and had me not facilitate, she wouldn't let me use that word because I was not a working person. I was a client that took her group, and she liked me enough or whatever, had enough faith in me, I'm not really sure the word I'm looking for, to have me co-assist 3 times a week with her group. And I tell you what, it felt really good at the time. And then I told her that she was my mentor. And then she changed. She started sharing things with me that I didn't think was good as a person with PTSD. And then I started to notice that I was changing, and I was turning into, I hate to say it, one of them. And my friends that were in the group, this is so hard to talk about still, it hurt so bad, they wouldn't talk to me anymore. So she put me in this really weird position, and I came to the whole groups wanting to make friends. I'll have to explain the ACT, curriculum for anybody who wants to maybe understand what the hell I'm trying to talk about now. Please hold. I don't want to talk about the other Leanne too much right now. I did want to mention that it was huge for me not to project on the new Leanne, Dr. Leanne, the feelings I have left over from what the other Leanne did to me. And I don't think Dr. Leeanne believed anything I said about that. The irony is the licensed clinic social worker named Leanne, it's spelled differently, so I think that's part of the reason that, I mean, my gosh, when I saw her website, it didn't even occur to me she had the same name. I think I contacted her before it occurred to me. So that's a lot of growth. And this is like a double whammy. Oh man, I don't ever want to talk to a Leanne again. I'm laughing because that sounds ridiculous, right? I've had 3 bad experiences in November, traumatic, with a so-called therapist, 2 psychologists. Well, wait a minute. 4 now. She's the 4th. Oh, I'm sorry. The other Leanne wasn't November, I don't think. Was it? I'm laughing because that's what I do. Yeah, the other Leanne, the licensed clinical LCSW, started to tell me to lie. She did little white lies to get things done in the system, and I don't want to lie, so there's that. I think lying, it's not a religious thing for me. It's between right or wrong. Lying is wrong. Lying causes more problems. Too many people lie, and it's just kind of accepted, it seems like nowadays. Okay, well, I wanted to talk about other things, a little bit about me. I'm part reporter. I did want to be a reporter one time. I've wanted to be an author. I've wanted to be a journalist, reporter, kind of the same thing. I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a private detective. And, I almost forgot the irony. The irony about the double Leanne situation is before the other Leanne, the licensed clinical social worker, basically dumped me. It was wrong. It was way worse than what Dr. Leanne did. Dr. Leanne just rubbed salt in the wound. So, yeah, we were doing all these groups. I'm working with her. She's priming me to create this like job for me in the county health department where I used to live. And she just, it's like she was very, oh darn it, having trouble with words. Shoot. This is what happens, so I'm just going to breathe. What's the word when they're... Hold on. Ambitious. That's the word I was looking for. I think it took me 3 minutes to think of it. I had to have complete silence to find that word. Ambitious. Now, based on my experience with most therapists, hey, I did this myself when I was a therapist. I would try to help my clients when they couldn't think of their words. And now I'm in their shoes, years later, wishing a therapist would just be quiet long enough to let me find the word before they try to help me. This is important. I'm going to come back to this in a different video because this is really important. What I'm trying to say is Leanne, the old Leanne, she thought I would be a good, I'm getting I gotta laugh. She thought I would be good at educating providers, okay? And then we had this, a misunderstanding where I could not get her to hear me. And she just blew me off and told me to talk to her supervisor because it was a health department, so they can do that. And so since then, I thought, well, I don't want to see anybody at health departments anymore because they can't really make up their own mind about anything. They have to talk to their supervisors about everything. And that brings another person that doesn't know me into the treatment. And so I thought, okay, not going to do that anymore. And then on the flip side, so Dr. Leanne doesn't have anybody above her head telling her what to do. She chose to ignore me all by herself. Ouch. And again, I'm all about prevention and self-advocacy, and I'd like to explain what a peer wellness specialist is. I don't think I did very well on my video titled, "What is a peer wellness counselor?" So I'll get back to that later too, and I just lost my train of thought. So I'm going to click stop and breathe and come back. I do feel like Dr. L was having trouble with me and talked to somebody else, and they told her to cut me loose, and she did what she did. I'll read that email later. It's so hurtful to me, I don't want to read it again. So doing these vlogs help with my ruminating thoughts. Do you guys know what ruminating thoughts are? That's when you can't stop thinking of something. It just goes on and you repeat it, and oh my gosh, it's so annoying. I personally can't get away from it. I wake up and it just hits me the minute I open my eyes. So this helps. Writing helps too. If your hands don't hurt, writing actually is better than typing. So, yeah. Okay, so I was a kid in the 70s with an old reel tape recorder. Now, if you're 40 years or under, you won't know what that is, most likely. I'll try to get a picture and show it to you. I entertained myself by taping myself and playing myself back. My dad used to sing. He wasn't a very good singer, but he would tape himself singing. So I grew up watching him do that and wanted to do the same thing. I have a really lousy recording of that somewhere. I might go ahead and post here so you guys can see that doing this is part of my inner child. And you know what? I'm so glad the internet wasn't around when I was a kid, because I just would have made so many mistakes. Getting on YouTube. Hell, I made mistakes as an adult. And it's really sad and amazing how many adult bullies there are out there. So I wonder if anyone heard me say that I do say words backwards. I'll say numbers backwards. I'll get dates wrong. That's part of my PTSD. That is something I cannot help. I'm trying to correct that, and by doing videos and catching myself saying things inaccurately, it's helping me figure that out. So that's part of my problem with therapy, is it's going to take somebody a long time to get to know me that way and figure out that I say things backwards. It's weird. I have to laugh. So the benefit of my repeating myself, even if I appear erratic or paranoid in these rants, if you do listen, really listen, with an open mind, you'll find patterns in my ramblings. You can't see my facial expression, so you're missing out on that. If you are talking to somebody or watching them rant, look for their facial expressions, their body language. That tells more than anything. Microflash expressions. Do you guys know what that is? Well, if you don't, we'll cover that in my next video, my next podcast. I hope you've enjoyed these little memes that I found about self-advocacy, and I do hope people hear me. And it's just really interesting. I mean, I think I've lived here for 6 months now, and I think I feel better than I have the whole 6 months, even though it really hurts what she did. She validated me by invalidating me, and by marketing herself, in my opinion, and being unethical. Peace, babies.